If you enjoy the content on this channel, please like and subscribe. F1 2023 is a racing video game developed by Codemasters and published by EA Sports. It is the 16th entry in the F1 series by Codemasters. It holds the official license for the 2023 Formula 1 and Formula 2 World Championships. The game was released on the 16th of June 2023. First introduced in F1 2021, F1 2023 features Breaking Point 2, which is set in the 2022 and 2023 seasons. The story centers on Connorsport, Butler Global Racing Team, a new team that has recently joined the grid. Aiden Jackson, who is canonically on the Alfa Romeo Racing Team in Breaking Point, and Devon Butler both return from the first Breaking Point and find themselves becoming teammates in the new team. Introduced in this story mode is Formula 2 prodigy Callie Mayer, who dreams of earning a shot at motorsport's most prestigious single-seater category after winning the Formula 2 World Championship, with the team Trident becoming the first woman to claim the title in doing so. She also happens to be Butler's sister. As revealed in the deep dive video published on the 22nd of May 2023, the writing team partnered with three-time W Series champion and Williams development driver Jamie Chadwick to bring Mayer's story to life. Both Butler and Jackson retain their driver numbers of 71 and 89 respectively, while Mayer uses 66 during a stint in Formula 1 and 20 as a Trident driver. Now, much like FIFA's long-lost story mode, The Journey, Breaking Point was usually celebrated by fans of the Formula 1 game series. And when the mode was taken off, skipping F1 2022 altogether, and EA and Codemasters focused their attention in other areas, everybody was complaining about it, saying they want it back. Now, racing games can tell their own story within the championship modes, for example, but tying it up to a story mode type of aspect can really add another option to the original sports game. Now, the idea is you're given different scenarios. You might have to join a race with 5 laps to go and have to get your respective driver at the time to a position that is predetermined in order to move on with the story. The campaign goes to great lengths to show a more progressive version of the sport than we are currently seeing in real life. At times, though, it can be somewhat of a soapy melodrama, but overall it's a fun, engaging experience. And with the new addition here of Emma Kenny, who goes on to play the new character of Callie Mayer, it really just sort of adds another dimension to the story. Now, the original Breaking Point focused on the driving of pair of rookie Jackson and the retiring Dutch journeyman Casper Ackermann, who of course was very much based on Kimi Räikkönen. Breaking Point 2 now broadens the scope. The focus here is on the whole Connorsport team, and introduces another new character and team principal, Andrea Connor, as well as, of course, Davidoff Butler, Devon's father and CEO of Connorsport's primary sponsor, Butler Global. In this game now, Casper Ackermann, who recently was retired, is now managing Callie Mayer. Ackermann, of course, will go on to become team principal of Connorsport Butler. The story, like before, works with specific scenarios, and you drive as Mayer, Jackson and Butler. As I said earlier, some of the events are full races, but most are mid-race situations where you might find yourself asked to finish ahead of specific drivers or teams, or salvage or defend your position after dealing with some bad luck or capitalize on some smart strategy. Overachieving this time also allows you to achieve bonus objectives, which unlocks new responses to press questions and internal staff queries, but it doesn't really change the overall story arc. Now, one of the things that surprised me in the Breaking Point 2 is that Aiden Jackson sort of takes a more of a backseat role in this time, which I'm fine with, as I found him very unlikable in both games. He just tends to whinge and always seems to be unhappy. We learned very little about Jackson in the first game, and we learn even less about him in this one. Look, the idea behind Jackson was that he was supposed to be signed by a big team. I remember at the end of the first game, Toto Wolff even giving him a thumbs up. But here, of course, we see that he is now stuck in a lower midfield team, a team that he feels he is better than. I can see what they were trying to go for here, but they never really give Jackson enough time to develop the character. The spotlight, though, instead is shifted now to the ambitious Mayer and her smarmy brother, Devon Butler. For me, though, surprisingly, Devon emerges as the most interesting and layered character, and the only one that sort of evolves within the story's arc. Butler starts off as a rival to Jackson. The two don't get on, but eventually he's actually forced to retire early after developing tinnitus, so that he can neither focus nor drive a car properly. It's almost quite a sort of sad twist within the story, and the story really does lack when he's not on screen. Luckily, though, of course, he returns back later on to be a consultant for the Connorsport team, and he almost becomes the good guy of the piece, although still retaining his sarcastic and narcissistic tendencies. Devon Butler is the kind of character we love to hate. And as I say, I love how at the start of the game he just seems like the regular Devon Butler, but as it continues we have hints towards something being up with him. And the scene when he does announce his retirement is rather heartbreaking. and is really conflicting as a viewer because now you've gone from loathing him to feeling sorry for him. Now let's discuss the new character here of Callie Meyer. She has much the confidence and swagger of her brother. She is strong-willed and outspoken, but she doesn't share the same malice or mess with people like Devon does. Callie focuses solely on results and also proving herself as a woman in a male-dominated industry. She of course is Davidoff Butler's daughter, but takes her mother's name after the divorce. She also feels that her father exclusively supported her brother while never actually helping her, which leads to some emotionally charged exchanges between them. The moments between Callie and her strange father are especially heavy. The problem though with Callie Meyer as a character is that she's not very likable. She comes across as mean, bitter, and angry, and I know exactly what the writers were trying to do here, trying to prove a point as a female driver within a male-dominated sport. But like I said, the character of Callie is just not very engaging, nor always relatable. The new character of Davidoff Butler is probably the most laid character of all. He appears to be a nasty piece of work, just a businessman, ruthless and egotistic. But by the end you understand that why he does what he does. You may not agree with his methods, but he does seem to bring out the best in everyone, in terms of competition anyway. One aspect I think they missed in the story though was the relationship here between Jackson and Meyer. It starts off with miscommunication, which results in an accident, and Jackson and Meyer just can't see eye to eye. I would have preferred it to be maybe from another angle where the two teammates get on well and slowly disintegrate, almost sort of like a Hamilton and Rosberg scenario. Look, the cutscenes are a huge improvement over the first one, and the facial performance capture in particular is far stronger. The interview sequences make for some clever script segues, but it would have been maybe more fun to do a more documentary fly-on-the-wall style to the dramatic scenes, and they could have almost copied like Netflix's Drive to Survive, which in some ways they do with some of the background interviews. Also, the racing sequences can be somewhat arcade-like, far more realistic than the first Breaking Point, but it's very unlikely that a lower midfield team would be finishing in the top 5 so quickly. And even though the replay value in the actual racing game itself is excellent, I find when they show you video sequences of the dramatic scenes, the cars almost seem to be moving at lightning speed, and it seems very unrealistic. Look, overall Breaking Point 2 is definitely a step up in many ways. The story is fundamentally predictable, and it sort of plays off the same tropes as the first storyline, but then again this is supposed to be a generic sports-based storyline. You're not expecting an Oscar-winning script here. The graphics are good, and the facial capturing is excellent, albeit that I found some of the lack of realism in terms of the actual cars driving a little bit disappointing. Look, you don't buy F1 2023 because you want to play Breaking Point. Rather, Breaking Point is just an addition to you wanting to buy a Formula 1 racing game. Overall, Breaking Point 2 is a good effort with a solid story that, albeit predictable, keeps you engaged. Breaking Point 2 gets a 7 out of 10.